Hello, YouTube. This is Captain Omni, and I'm coming at you with more of an off-the-cuff kind of video, and that is, as you can tell by the title, why I love Evil Dead. And this includes, Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and of course Ash versus the Evil Ash versus Evil Dead, and of course even the Evil Dead remake. Now, even if I have some problems with the Evil Dead remake, I still like it. But anyway, basically, like the reason because basically, I'm gonna get my brain working. But yeah, the main reason I love the Evil Dead franchise is it's one of those series that really, if you look at it like this, it's one of those few series where the main character, Ash Williams in this case, really does grow, and you can see that growth throughout each movie, or each iteration that he's in. And a lot of horror franchises do that, but a lot of the times it takes the back seat to the slasher or everything. There's only one I can think of that does do that very well, and that's as well, and that would be the Aliens franchise with Ellen Ripley. Even if Alien 3 was kind of a set backwards. But, then again, no one likes Alien 3 anyway. But, anyway, so basically the main reason I like it is, it's one of those stories, for those of you who know me, I'm a huge fan of barbarians, I'm a huge fan of knights, kind of like the warrior idea of, okay, there's evil, I'm going to that, and there's this warrior that, stands up and destroys it. I'm a huge fan of that. It's one of the reasons I always love superheroes. But with Evil Dead, it is very similar to that in the sense that, okay, Ash Williams is this, he's chosen by a prophecy to destroy the Deadites. Wherever they crop up, he's the chosen one, he has to deal with it. And somebody might think, well, doesn't that kind of mean he'll never die? Or no, I mean, he can still get really banged up, as the franchise has shown. Ash may be the chosen one, but that does not make him Superman. Oh no. But and of course the other thing too is that, the Deadites as themselves aren't your typical undead monstrosities. They can manipulate the environment. They can, mutilate bodies and into grotesque forms that would make The Thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing, jealous in certain situations, like fists and claws busting out of the chest and stomach, everything, and it's basically the Deadites and Ash are the main reasons I love the Evil Dead franchise, and it's one of those things where it's too, you have this, I consider Evil Dead to be kind of the Doctor Who of the horror scene. And well, what, that sounds like an odd analogy, but just bear with me here. The Necronomicon, as we've seen, can transport someone through portals. Ash, in Evil Dead 2. Ash ends up in the time of King Arthur. And like Army of Darkness, you had Ash basically in a sword and sorcery setting almost, a heroic fantasy, which was kind of the theme Sam Raimi was going for with Army of Darkness. And of course, even as the comics go, you kind of Ash end up in these weird situations, one of the latest runs, he had him in space, Evil Dead Space. Man, there's a crossover that needs to happen. Anyway, that's an idea for another day. But again, it has Ash and the book end up having this kind of, and the Necronomicon are a horror version of the Doctor and the TARDIS. Something goes wrong, Ash is there, he deals with it. It's he's kind of this gateway into both horror and adventure, almost. a horrific adventure, mind you, but still. It's kind of like one of those reasons why, and of course, again, like, you can have, like, really scary setups. Like, some people might only think of, like, the more goofy, horror comedy aspects, which, don't get me wrong, I love horror comedy. I love horror comedy, but still at the same time, though, like, the original Evil Dead was just a straight horror, and that worked. And the thing is, one of the other things I love about the franchise is, like, especially the first 3 movies, is the tone in which it's set. Like, okay, Evil Dead 1, Ash is the main guy, but, like, okay, he's just experiencing this for the first time, same as we are, pretty much, and, he's, like, panicking, he's panicking, he doesn't know what to do, he's unsure of himself, he's not the uber badass Deadite Slayer that he will become. Evil Dead 2, when you wait, like, when he lops off his hand and everything, it starts getting a little more goofy and comedic because it's very clear Ash is slowly losing his mind. In fact, the scene with the deer head laughing at him and, the lamps and everything, it kind of heavily implied that the Deadites weren't even doing anything at that point. Somewhat. Like, it's kind of somewhat implied that they weren't doing anything, and that was literally Ash having a mental breakdown. But still, it was kind of funny, when his hand gets possessed and everything. It's like, you gotta pretty much have a one-man Three Stooges routine right there. And, of course, by the time of Army of Darkness, Ash has become what the most dangerous thing a character in a movie can be, genre savvy. Where he's essentially like, okay, I know how this horror stuff goes. I'm not really scared that much anymore. I mean, he does get, like, shocked and, scared about what's going on, but it's like, the Deadites aren't necessarily like, oh no, how do I deal with this? No, he's gotten used to it fairly quickly by this point, and he's just done. He is just done. He's going to shove a shotgun into its face. He's going to take the chainsaw, and he's going to go to town, and he's just going to, like, I'm done with this shit. I'm done. I am done. So, yeah, and it's one of those things, too, where really, because, like, you could argue on a certain level that the movies get less scary as they go on, like, with each movie. But really, again, I think that kind of makes it stand out more. Because, it's still a horrific event. Like, it's still horrific events. But at the same time, it really does kind of go with, this is like, okay, we're seeing this, each movie can kind of consider being seen through Ash's eyes. Like, and, his growth as a character. And, of course, by the time you get to Ash vs. Evil Dead, it's like, okay, he hasn't had to deal with this in, like, forever. He thought he was done. And, of course, when I think I'm out, they drag me back in. It's like kind of thing where it's like, yeah, and again, that's again where I kind of consider it kind of being like a horror equivalent to Doctor Who in the sense of, because he's bringing friends along now. He had companions almost, it's like, and they're getting dragged into it and everything. So it's one of those series where it's like, Bruce Campbell had this to say about it. He was that with the book and everything, you can do more. Like with the Necronomicon, you can do more than most others. Like he compared it to, like, say, Hellraiser. Okay, Hellraiser, you open the box, you're gonna get the Cenobites coming out. Don't get me wrong, I like Hellraiser. But with the Deadites, though, because they don't necessarily have physical forms and they possess people and things, you can actually do quite a lot with that. Because, like, are you going to get possessed? Is this person going to get possessed? Oh no, it's taken over like a suit of armor, or it's taken over like this taxidermatized thing, or like this fire hose, or even you could even have it like them take over a car or something. There is untold possibilities of what you could do with that. That's why I'm really excited for Evil Dead Rise, which apparently, if you believe reports, I'm pretty sure this has been confirmed. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's been confirmed that Ash Williams will be back, but he will not be played by Bruce Campbell. It'll be like a totally different version of Ash. which I'm fine with, because really I think Ash is such a well-defined character that you can have another actor play him. In fact, that's kind of what seems to be Bruce Campbell's intention, because like he's made some comments like he kind of wants Ash to be the kind of like the horror equivalent to Bruce Camp, yeah, right, to James Bond. He kind of want like, because like there's been like how many like I think in one interview like about it, he said like there's been who knows how many James Bonds, there's been who knows how many Batmen, so like all of this, so like why, so there is a, I mean, for instance, you could see like Ash could very well become like the horror equivalent of, well, James Bond, because like while we all have our favorites, a lot of people agree Sean Connery was the best, you know. And of course he was in a lot of movies, like multiple James Bond movies, and like people think, okay, it's impossible to replace him, but they got someone else in. So like again, I think what Bruce wants to do is like literally just try to like, okay, Ash is a fun character, I can't play him forever. So what we're going to do is like, okay, we're going to let other people have their first Ash. You know, kind of like that kind of thing. And like let the franchise continue from there. And of course, Evil Dead Rise will apparently also be like set in a town, apparently like a whole city. Like at one point they said it was going to be an office building, I think, but I think now it's coming out that it's going to be set in like a proper city setting. So I'm like, okay, it's like what I would kind of like to see them do with Evil Dead Rise would kind of be like, okay, with each Evil Dead movie, it could kind of be new Evil Dead movie, you could see a new version of Ash. Like it could be still the same actor, maybe recast it, maybe, who knows, but like each one's kind of like set up in a new situation, different Ash, who essentially like, you know, is like going through this like every couple movies or so, kind of like a Three Stooges kind of setup almost. Like, you know, where he's working a different job, different town. Next thing you know, this goes down, and like, you know, it's like, because again, like, it kind of fits the horror comedy aspect that Evil Dead has. But anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. But yeah, I do love this franchise. Ash Williams is one of my favorite fictional characters of all time, and yeah, he's definitely one of. It's again, mostly due to the fact of how well defined he is, and like the steps he took into, like, you know, each movie or iteration that shows Ash adds something. You know, like Evil Dead 2 added, like, okay, he's finally done with this. He's fighting back for real. Army of Darkness, like, okay, I'm just done with all this shit, and send me home. Ash versus Evil Dead, you have it where, like, okay, yeah, it really which really actually adds another layer in the fact that Ash really has not been okay. Like, you can, like, make some claims, like, okay, he's, like, this big, bad, mouth-off kind of guy, but no, he has not been okay for decades. And Ash vs. Evil Dead shows, like, it adds another layer to that. Like, really, he does, you know, like, he's a man that carries a lot of pain and turmoil, which he masks with, well, what, like, smart-ass one-liners, which are fun, but still. So yeah, anyway, that's just why I love this franchise. And yeah, I just felt like, like putting this out there, you know, given the month and everything. But yeah, anyway, this has been Captain Omni. Hope you guys liked it. Comment below, and yeah, comment below and let me know, what do you guys what is your favorite